Des Moines, and all of Central Iowa, welcome to Mac's World Live. Mac's World is your world. Every day we talk about the issues and topics that matter most to you. And as always, it's your voice we want to hear in Mac's World. So join the conversation by calling 515-244-0077. And now, here's the host of Mac's World Live, J. Michael McCoy.
All right, thank you very much. 7 minutes after 4 o'clock on this 27th day of October in the Lord's year 2015. I'm J. Michael McCoy, and I hope you're getting used to this new format. The first hour is usually those of us here at the radio station discussing all kinds of different news articles, mostly local. That's what I'm trying to do, is give you insight with a biblical worldview on some local stories. Sometimes we have a little fun with it. I'm not going to say there won't be guests in the first hour, but mostly it'll be just folks here at the radio station and maybe you. Maybe there's something going on in the news that's really got you tanked off, and you decided that rather than just write to the 2 cents worth or blog on your own or complain on Facebook, you're actually going to put something out there. And that's what my next guest did. Her name is Pat Nichols. She is from Central Iowa. She is a mother and a wife. She is a conservative Christian, and she doesn't consider herself outspoken or a big mouth or anything like that. She thinks, well, I'll let you say it. You think more people should step up and talk about the things they're passionate about.
Absolutely.
All
Absolutely.
Right. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
And thank you for being here. And I want to give Pat a little kudos because I asked you yesterday. Mm-hmm. Whenever I told you.
Yeah, you sent it over to me.
She has a couple of videos out there, and Frank is going to try to run those videos. And there's no visual for you to lose if you're only listening on the radio. Obviously, if you're watching on Webcast 1, you'll see the video, but you're basically just sitting in your husband's car, and you've got the phone up there,
right,
recording. No script, right?
No script. Inspiration hit.
Yeah, and it was like 2.5 minutes.
Right.
See, if inspiration hit Tom or me, they'd be 12, 14, 16.
Oh yeah, there's a lot in that little piece. There's a lot of truth in there.
Well, and what you talked about is you basically talked about Hillary,
Right.
and give me some of the points you talked about in that.
The fact that her foundation, she screams women's rights, yet her foundation has taken millions and millions of dollars from countries that oppress women physically, psychologically, emotionally. Somebody who is a true proponent of women's rights doesn't do that. She's a supporter. This wasn't mentioned in that video. It was mentioned in the first video.
And we're going to play the first one later.
Okay, all right. But, you know, her support of Planned Parenthood, her desire to, she came straight out and said she wanted to confiscate guns. Now, she did have somebody walk that back, but she doesn't consider women capable, apparently, of being responsible for their own self-defense. It surprises me that a woman who claims to be pro-choice is opposed to a woman's choice on how she defends her body.
Put on your headphones there for just a second, just so you can
You
hear
didn't want to
Frank.
mess up her hair, Frank.
Go ahead.
Well, we all remember the famous line in the hearing, what difference does it make now when it came to the death of Chris Stevens?
Yes,
Okay.
that was Hillary's comment when she's being grilled by a Senate hearing.
Earlier, yes, not this time.
If Chelsea or Hillary's grandson or daughter was murdered in some brutal fashion and sodomized, would Hillary be so callous as to say, what difference does it make now? Or would she try to follow that person to the gates of hell to find out who it was and bring them to justice? But yet we have still no justice for Chris Stevens, and his mother is still waiting for an answer from Hillary, from Joe Biden, from Obama, from Eric Holder. They promised to get back to Sean Smith's mother, and she still hasn't heard why her son was killed. But what difference does it make now?
Well, also, Obama and his minions have not even called her, correct? Or was there somebody from Obama's administration that called her?
When the body came back to the U.S., they were there. They met Sean Smith's mother, and Hillary and those guys assured the woman that they were going to put the producer of the movie trailer in jail and hold him to some sort of justice. But the person, no one was fired from the State Department, and no one over there has been brought to justice for the killings and sodomization of Chris Stevens. No one has been brought to justice, but Hillary has took complete responsibility for it. I don't know what that means, if she's walked up the state capitol on her knees, if she lashed herself on the back like Martin Luther back in the day when he ascended Pilate's staircase. What does responsibility to mean? She's running for president again. So when we get the other 3 a.m. call that she said Obama wouldn't be able to handle, now we get the new 3 a.m. call. She must have hit the snooze button and went back to sleep, because now she's going to be ready for that next 3 a.m. call.
All right.
Hey, Frank.
Well, let's take a break.
All right.
You just hold your thoughts for a second. We're going to take a hard break. Our guest today is Pat Nichols. She's a woman who is passionate, and she's sharing that passion with us today live on The Truth.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Hi, I'm J. Michael McCoy, and about 20 years ago, I went to a used car salesman by the name of John Hewitt. He had a little shop over there on North 2nd Avenue called John's Auto Sales, and I bought a car. I found that experience to be one that I had never had before from a used car salesman. He was honest, he was dependable, he had integrity, and he did what he said he was going to do. Well, over the years, between my kids and grandkids, I purchased 7 vehicles from John's Auto Sales. And last month, I asked him to be a sponsor. I can tell you about their huge selection. I can tell you about their years of experience. I can tell you about their honest integrity. But all I really need to tell you is that I bought 7 cars, and you can trust them. John's Auto Sales, 5435 2nd Avenue. Good morning.
You need a good ride when you hit the trail. Trust the man with the cars, and he goes by the name of Big John. Big John. Big John.
Credit cards are like grandkids. They love you, sometimes get out of control, and it's fun to get a new one. Who can stop them from piling on?
Hi, I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of Des Moines. At the end of the day, you can return the grandkids, but you're stuck paying off bad credit card debt. We'll help you put the fun back into using credit cards responsibly. Right, kids?
Yeah! If you need help getting credit cards off your back, call Consumer Credit of Des Moines.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
"21 minutes after 4 o'clock on the 27th day of October in the Lord's year 2015. I'm J. Michael McCoy, Max World Live here on 99.3. And don't forget, this Friday, Pastor Fritz Trost will be on the first hour, and we're going to talk about Halloween through the eyes of a pastor and biblically. And then in the second hour, our good friend Kevin E. Johnson, Pastor Johnson, will be here as we continue our study of the book of Revelation, and that'll be coming up this Friday. Fridays are always more fun right here on 99.3. Now, are you you're going trick-or-treating with your grandkids?
My grandkids, we've got kind of a history of them coming over to our house, trick-or-treating up and down the street in our neighborhood. Some of them may hang back, and they may enjoy handing out the candy to the trick-or-treaters more than they do going and getting it. But yeah, they have a good time, and I've heard from them that they are looking forward to doing that again.
Well, are you going to dress up?
Maybe I wear my cowboy hat this year,
That's
Mac.
what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Just wear your cowboy hat.
I can do that.
Everybody will know.
I have done that before.
Actually, what you do is you wear your cowboy hat and go up, but be on your knees, and everybody will think you're a little boy dressed up like Tom Coates. Look, honey, it's a little Tom Coates. I know who that is. All right. A few days ago, well, this is Tuesday, so I suppose it was. Did I contact you on Monday? So
yeah, it was Monday.
Saturday or Sunday. I like Facebook. I mean, I just do. Why do I like it? Because I like conversation. And I like to put things on Facebook that create conversation. I don't put in there that I'm on my way to Menards to get a new hammer. Do you know how much they are? You know, I'm not knocking those people that do that, but that's just not what I do. I put up faith-based stuff and politics. And then stuff for my family, because I share my family openly. The guy I am on the radio is the guy I am at home. I'm grandpa. I'm dad. I'm honey. I'm Matt. No, not. What would I be to my dogs? Caretaker. And so you see pictures of my dogs, and we had the McCoy 10th annual pumpkin carving contest last Sunday, so we put all the grandkids on and the pumpkins and all that kind of stuff. But I like Facebook because I like to put stuff on there, and I'll probably spend too much time on Facebook, but I think it's a good investment because a lot of it comes out here on the show. Today's a perfect example. So I'm just floating along, and in comes this video of this woman in the front seat of her car just railing on Hillary Clinton, but railing in a good way, railing in a way that I respect. I can't handle railings when they're crude, vulgar, and to be honest with you, I don't like when facts are misrepresented. Pat didn't do any of that. And what I later found out in talking to her, I thought I was going to have her by phone today, and I found out she lives here in Central Iowa, so her and her husband, Steve, are in studio today, and you've got 2 videos out there, and best thing to do would be what? Go to YouTube and put in
Pat Nicklaus.
Put in Pat Nicklaus.
Yeah.
And you've got 2 videos on there. Now, in the one we played a little bit ago, and we're going to play another one after our next break, you really rail on the fact that Hillary Clinton is anything but for women's rights. In fact, if anything, she is a deterrent to women's rights.
She is using women as pawns.
Okay.
To win an election.
All right.
Period.
Give me some examples.
What? Okay. Tom and Mac, what rights do you have that I don't?
I can't. I can't. I can't kill my unborn child.
We have equal rights.
Yes,
already. We do.
Yeah.
There is no war on women. One of the most insidious things that they do, okay, is you hear the term women's health.
Yeah.
Okay. It's always about the reproductive system.
Right.
Look up the top 5 health concerns for women.
Yep.
None of them are reproductive related.
Yeah.
I'm being sick of being reduced to a reproductive system.
Yeah.
That's a war on women. Reducing women, dehumanizing women to nothing more than a reproductive system.
And as you said earlier, I like that term, a pawn.
Right, exactly. The equal pay myth, too. There has never, ever been a study that shows equal education, equal years of experience, that shows that men, are making more than women are. It's never been done. Overall, across all industries, comparing receptionists to oil rig workers and everything else in between, yeah, there might be a little disparity there, but women tend to take the easier office jobs. The guys tend to take the oil rig worker jobs.
And I would imagine if a woman's on an oil rig, she's being paid the same
exactly
as
the same as the guy standing next to her. And if she's got more experience, she's getting paid more than him. There was a study done. The only study I've seen that was done is that young women are actually out earning their male counterparts in some of the major metropolitan areas.
Now,
yeah.
Pat. You have heard that Hillary Clinton paid her female staffers when she was Secretary of State 16% less than she was paying her male staffers. And yet Frank was talking a little bit about the hypocrisy. You don't have to look very far to find hypocrisy with Hillary. Her TV ads now trumpet that she will be out there championing the women's equal pay, and yet when she had an opportunity to do something about it, again, in the State Department, for those years she was Secretary of State, they were paid less than their male counterparts. I think even worse than the pay disparity under the Obama administration on women. The thing that came out, I was going to mention, Frank, when you were talking about her testimony most recently, and this goes to her basic disingenuousness, is that it came out three different people that she told initially that the killings, the murders in Benghazi had nothing to do with anything other than a planned attack by Islamic terrorists. And then she comes out, and this goes to your 3 a.m. call, Frank. The call that I'm told that she got was from Barack Obama himself, saying we are going with the narrative that this was a video that created this demonstration, which there wasn't any of, and then it just kind of got out of hand. Because, and what you say, well, what's the motivation there? Well, because he was running for re-election, and at that point, guys, was a very tight election in 2012. And he had already run up the mantra that the Muslims were on the run. He had killed Osama bin Laden, and he could not afford to allow people to believe that it had turned around on him and that actually the terrorists were on the march over there. So that was the motivation. Now, what I'm also hearing is that she didn't want to swallow that. She called up Bill. They talked it over. Bill said the American people will never buy this about a little-known video that wasn't seen by anybody, that this was the generator for the murders over in Benghazi. But it was also said in that conversation that if she stepped down in protest over this lying narrative, that he could lose the election, and if he did, the Democrats would blame her, and she couldn't get elected dog catcher after that. So that is it. But it was pointed out that 3 different times that she said to people outside the public, even her own family, that this was not about this video, it was about the other. And then she came out and publicly stated, we're going to get the guy that did this video. as far as I know, that poor guy is still in jail. I don't know. What do you think, Frank?
29 minutes after the hour, my guest is Pat Nichols. She is a Central Iowa woman, conservative Christian. She has passions. And she has videos on YouTube. If you go to YouTube and put in Pat Nichols, you'll see them. We've watched one here. Listen to one. This is radio, so it's all audio. You listened to one earlier. We're going to listen to the next one here after this break. But Frank?
Well, Tom, I watched probably 4 hours of the hearings the other day and night when I come home and watch some on C-SPAN. The whole thing basically comes down to this. They received over 600 cables or emails, Chris Stevens begging for security. Now, they brought up in the thing by Jim Jordan and Trey Gowdy that they said, Sidney Blumenthal is your great friend. Yes, Sidney Blumenthal is a great friend. And then Chris Stevens, yes, is a great friend. Well, now we don't have Sidney Blumenthal's emails, but we have Hillary's emails that supposedly Sidney Blumenthal sent her. Yeah. And there was in excess of 100 or more, between 100 and 200. And then Hillary proceeds to say this under oath, that Chris Stevens neither had her cell phone number or private email. So put this into context here. And she erased 30,000 plus emails. Now, if the FBI can produce one email that shows that she absolutely lied under oath that Chris Stevens did not either contact her by her cell phone number or her email, that should nail her to the cross.
Do you think that's a smoking gun then?
That would be the smoking gun because she's under oath saying that Chris Stevens had neither the phone number.
Never got to her personally. Now, her staff, which was deficient, did get these emails and supposedly dealt with them. But Sidney Blumenthal, which, by the way, Obama himself denied the access where she could not hire him in the State Department, so he was hired by the Clinton Crime Foundation and had easy access to her, and he had, like they had, financial interest over in Libya, which he was particularly interested in.
Who did?
Sidney Blumenthal.
Yes. But she blows it all off as these emails and cables were taken care of by the security professionals.
Yes, and they may have been somewhat deficient, but there wasn't any criminal activity here, and nobody really deserved to lose their job over it, Frank. But yeah, this Sidney Blumenthal thing, I don't think most people know who he is. But even though Obama said you cannot bring him in here, she brought him in anywhere, and he was one of her top advisors through all of these things, who had personal financial interest. But again, that wasn't anything to her because she was taking millions of dollars from foreign interest to influence foreign policy through the Clinton Crime Foundation.
But
right?
Hillary was saying these emails from Blumenthal was unsolicited. Now, while Chris Stevenson's security requests are getting turned down, Hillary forwarded to Chris Stevens, Sidney Blumenthal's thoughts on security in Libya or in Syria, and asked him to pontificate on that while he is in a bunker and can't even get out in the country. He's supposed to comment on Sidney Blumenthal.
Yeah. No, it's worse than, and these are without, as you say, many of the missing emails. Now, the question I've got, guys, is, sure, they can indict her. The FBI's got more than adequate information that they could indict her and have in other cases with much less. But will they dare indict her now if she is the only Democrat candidate that can step up? Or will they do it yet and draw Biden in as a draft choice to save the party?
Okay, now, Tom, I just want to tell you what you just said.
Okay.
But I want you to think about 1960. Okay, you were 7, 8, 9, whatever?
1960, I would have been 6 years old, Mac.
Okay, we had just come out of World War II. We got into the Korean War. President Eisenhower was the president. JFK, the biggest thing bad about JFK was he liked to sleep around and he was a Catholic.
Okay.
Right? Okay. Now we are debating whether a person who has absolutely indictable crimes, not tied to her, it is her.
Right.
whether that person is going to be president or not.
Going to get elected president. We threw Richard Nixon out.
55 years later, we're that messed up.
Yeah, we threw Richard Nixon out over a decade later for much less than what this woman has even knowingly done. And that's.
Could they not draft at the convention, get rid of her and draft Biden at the convention, and he wouldn't even have to run?
See, I still think that is a possibility. The timing is everything, and I still think it could be an indictment of her, and Biden gets in without having to go through all the work.
All right, when we come back, we'll play the second video from Pat Nichols and talk to her more about Planned Parenthood and Hillary's position on that and more next.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
I'm Brian Leach, owner of Service Legends, and my position is Chief Talent Officer.
I'm Nicholas Wonderscheid.
I am Bernie Hobbs.
And I'm the Service Manager.
Marketing Director and Client Relations Manager.
Everything that we do is about ensuring that we exceed your expectations.
Our clients are important to us. 100% satisfaction.
We're not just focused on heating and cooling. That's the easiest part of our job, actually, is fixing furnaces and air conditioners.
Everyone that we come in touch with, we want to improve lives.
Bottom line is, we've got our installation guarantees, 25% energy savings guarantee, comfort guarantee, temperature selection guarantee, property protection guarantee.
100% satisfaction guaranteed, fixed rate or it's free.
All of those guarantees are backed up with a 100% money back guarantee to hold ourselves accountable to making sure that you get what you're after.
Just fixing the problem today. If they have another problem 5 days down the road, it's still fixed rate or it's free.
We use what's called straightforward pricing. Our technicians are going to give you an exact to-the-penny price on what it's going to take before they move forward with any repair. That way you know what to expect.
It's the same price every day.
No surprises.
If you get off work at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, you come home, you realize that, oh, my furnace is broken. Now you need to call somebody out that night. You shouldn't have to pay more for that.
We're guaranteeing service 24/7.
We run afternoons, evenings, nights, weekends. We're staffed to work that.
Phone rings at 3 in the morning. You'll get one of our representatives answering the phone every time.
We're not sending you out to Timbuktu in some call center. It's our Service Legend team members, our mission control team.
I'll take a call anytime.
And then they answer the phones the same way during the day as they do at night.
It's a great day at your service company. How can we make you smile?
That's the only way to provide true 24-hour service.
When you're able to let somebody actually live in their home safely when they weren't able to do that before, where they don't have to stay up at night and worry about, is the heat going to come back on? Are we going to freeze the pipes? Is the baby in the room next door going to be sick because they got too cold? When you're able to help somebody overcome challenges like that, that's impacting a life. That makes a difference. I get goosebumps thinking about it.
I love the team. I love the people that I work with.
We have fun, but we work hard.
I call them my ambassadors of legendary service. If you could just envision what that is, that's who we're sending to your home.
They literally will call in, pick up the phone and call and say, hey, I want to talk to your manager. And I get on the phone, they're like, that technician that was at my house was the greatest technician ever. That's cool to me.
We want to brighten people's days.
Every person that we have going into the house has gone through an extensive background check.
Drug testing, we have a very thorough interview process that 1 out of 140 people make it through.
If we promise you something, that's what you're going to get, no matter what.
We're here when you need us to protect the safety and comfort of your family.
If you're not happy, we're going to make it right.
If we're willing to put 100% money back guarantee on what we do, what type of work do you think we do?
Give us a call. We're there for you 24/7, 365 days a year.
Enough said.
Okay. 22 minutes before the top of the hour, 4:38, and Salem Radio Network News at the top. And then Hank, the Bible Answer Man. If you haven't heard, it was announced today nationally that Tom Coates' personal most favorite radio announcer ever, Steve Dace, will be returning to this radio station 8 to 11 o'clock beginning next Monday, November 2nd. And I'm sure you'll stay up late every day, or at least record them on your cassette recorder.
I'm going to have to record them and listen to them. That's awful late for me.
Oh, you're up that late. What you aren't up is at 5 and 6 in the morning when I'm up. I never call Tom before. I try not to call you before 9. And even then I get this, oh, why are you waking me up for 9 o'clock? Anyway, I'm just making fun of Tom. Some of us are early risers. Some of us are late night. I can't late night anymore. I just.
You crash at 9, don't you?
Oh, man, I watch that Fox 17 News or 13 News until about 9:15.
And then you're in bed.
And then I'm in bed. Absolutely. All right. My special guest today, besides Tom, is Pat Nicklaus. Pat is a Central Iowa conservative Christian. She is a passionate woman, and she put a couple of videos up that she just did in her car. They were exceptionally made, and I think the reason they're so exceptionally made is they're so transparent. There just wasn't any, you didn't fluff your makeup, or you just put the phone in the holder and pushed record, and there you went. No script, right?
None.
We played one for you earlier. Frank, do you have the other one ready? All right, now, if you are listening on the radio, you'll miss nothing. The audio is just great. It's a little over 2 minutes long. If you're watching on webcast, you should be able to see it.
Candidates are inspiring some thoughts in me. Inspiring them so much that they've inspired me to make a few snippets of videos whenever the desire hits me. Well, the desire hit me. I'm sitting here in a parking lot waiting for my husband, and got to thinking about the debates the other night. Hillary Clinton, this one's for you. You support the likes of Planned Parenthood. You're all about women's equality. And that organization in your mind is the epitome of equality. The organization that can poke and prod and make sure that they crush above or crush below a certain internal organ so that they can sell it for profit. To you, that's what equality is all about. That's what women want. And then in the same debate, you called the NRA a terrorist organization. Apparently, Hillary, you're unaware that firearm permits for women have risen 270%. I always thought you were pro-human rights and pro-choice, yet you seem to very much oppose a woman's basic human right to defend her body in the legal manner of her choice. You stood outside of Trump Plaza and you said Donald Trump had to realize that he represents all Americans, yet in one foul swoop, in one debate, you alienated 120 million Americans. On top of that, you're kind of an embarrassment to our gender, Hillary. I don't know how many times you made reference to yourself as a woman, and we should elect you because you're a woman. Why, I hate to break it to you, but peeing sitting down is not an accomplishment, nor is it a reason to elect you. I'm going to be dogging you on this whole gun debate for the entirety of the election, because the way that I see it, without the Second Amendment, none of the other ones matter.
Her name is Pat Nicklaus.
Boy, I tell you, these Democratic...
I thought I would have to have her on the phone today, and I was fortunate enough to find that she lives here in Central Iowa with her husband, Steve, and you have a 23-year-old daughter that you said is amazing.
She is the best daughter in the entire world.
And what makes her the best daughter?
She has accomplished more in her 23 years on this planet than a lot of people do by the time they're 50, and I attribute that to strong conservative and Christian values.
And obviously, good upbringing.
Obviously.
Yeah. Has she made you a grandma yet?
No.
No.
And the reason why is because her and her boyfriend believe that they shouldn't get married until they are financially responsible enough to get married.
Okay.
And should not be producing children. And they don't even plan to practice producing children until after they are married. I have the greatest daughter in the world?
What a proud mama you are.
Yeah.
All right, so you watched the debates and they made you mad.
Yeah, they made me very mad.
What did you think of Bernie Sanders saying, "I'm sick and tired of hearing about these emails"? Is that a suck up for VP or what?
Running for cover. Yeah, he was. Yeah.
And the Planned Parenthood thing here, and I am one of the most pro-life people there are. But probably next to Tim Overland. Tim is amazing. He's Personhood Iowa. And I always tell people it's not that I'm against abortion so much as I'm pro-life. I was adopted. And I found my biological mother when I was 18 years old, and she is a bleeding heart liberal. Love her to death. She's a bleeding heart liberal. Active, even worse. And she clearly told me I was conceived in 1958, and she clearly told me that if I had been conceived after Roe versus Wade had been law, you wouldn't be sitting here with me today.
Wow.
So I can't think of a better reason to be pro-life than that. Here's the thing that blows me, and I don't know if you noticed on my Facebook. I know you just started. We just got to know each other on
Right.
Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
But have you noticed that I have a page called Low Information Voters?
Yep.
Okay. This is the page where I put things that, like, I should have had a V8 when you watch them. And here's the thing that kills me. Let me see. Planned Parenthood, women's health, right?
No. That's what they call it.
That's what they call it.
That's what they
the
call
low
it.
information voters want you to think that if we put Planned Parenthood out of business, oh, these women, they won't be able to have any of this. And
That's
this.
ridiculous.
What's the number one killer of women in this country?
I believe it is heart disease.
Close. It's breast cancer.
Breast cancer. Okay.
Now, how do you detect breast cancer?
Mammogram.
Right. Planned Parenthood is all about women's health, and guess what they don't do?
Mammograms.
None of them.
0.
Not a one. Now, do I have stupid written on my forehead or what? And obviously, all these people that are pro-Planned Parenthood have just set aside the lies. And have you seen the latest video?
I haven't. I heard it was
it's
just released.
Terrible. I really think they started with the least offensive, and they're now moving into the just horrid. The next one shows them cutting off the arms and legs of a baby and then pulling its spine out.
Jeez.
So they can use the DNA off the spine, or not DNA, the tissue off of the spine to help other people, which I think is great that they're going to help other people. But do we have to kill unborn babies?
Absolutely
like this?
not.
You know, did you hear that the New York, I can find this because this was on the news yesterday. New York Supreme Court said that a 6-year-old boy that died at the hands of his mother would not be manslaughter because she had the right to decide at 6 days old whether he was going to be around or not.
Really?
Nothing wrong with him. I know you're not on Facebook, but have Leanne look this up. This is a legitimate, this is not some freak story. The judge determined that she had that right.
To take out a 6-day-old
Didn't
baby.
have Down syndrome. Didn't have, just decided that was it.
So she was guilty of no criminal action?
No
None.
criminal action. She had, 3 counts? 2 were vehicle manslaughter, and then the manslaughter of her baby, and none.
That's incredible.
This is not in some foreign country.
No.
This is New York, where Hillary Clinton was a senator in the United States Senate. All right, when we come back, I want to get Pat's opinions on the NRA. Now, you've got a picture of you on the internet holding a pretty powerful gun. What is that?
That is an AR-15. That's a carbine. It's a mid-length carbine.
Is that a machine gun?
No, it's not a machine gun. No.
Not fully automatic, Mac.
It's what?
It's semi-automatic.
It's
So
semi-automatic.
you have to push your finger every time.
Yeah, it's one bullet per trigger pull.
Okay, but still, as fast as you can move your finger,
Right.
you can put out how many rounds in the
magazine?
The magazine.
It depends on how, what your reflexes are like. You're probably looking at maybe 30 rounds. Like I have a 30-round magazine.
Okay.
In that, okay? So 30 rounds in 45 seconds.
Oh, my. All right. She's pro-NRA. She's pro-conservative. I haven't asked her yet who she's going to vote for. I'll get her opinion on the Republican field coming up next, live here on The Truth.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Credit cards are like grandkids. They love you, sometimes get out of control, and it's fun to get a new one. Who can stop them from piling on?
Hi, I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of Des Moines. At the end of the day, you can give these grandkids back, but you're stuck paying off bad credit card debt. We can help you put the fun back into using credit cards responsibly. Right, kids?
Yeah! If you need help getting credit cards off your back, call Consumer Credit of Des Moines.
Hi, I'm J. Michael McCoy, and about 20 years ago, I went to a used car salesman by the name of John Hewitt. He had a little shop over there on North 2nd Avenue called John's Auto Sales, and I bought a car. I found that experience to be one that I had never had before from a used car salesman. He was honest, he was dependable, he had integrity, and he did what he said he was going to do. Well, over the years, between my kids and grandkids, I purchased 7 vehicles from John's Auto Sales. And last month, I asked him to be a sponsor. I can tell you about their huge selection. I can tell you about their years of experience. I can tell you about their honest integrity. But all I really need to tell you is that I bought 7 cars, and you can trust them. John's Auto Sales, 5435 2nd Avenue, Des Moines.
You need a good ride when you hit the trail. Trust the man with the cars, and he goes by the name of Big John. Big John. Big John.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
All right. Good afternoon. 10 minutes before the top of the hour, Salem Radio Network News, and then Hank, the Bible Answer Man, here on The Truth. Just announced today, our own Steve Deace has returned to the nation's #1 Christian network, Salem Network. It is not legally tied to The Truth, but it is owned by the same family. So we have this wonderful relationship with Salem Radio Network News, and Steve will be on nationwide, hundreds of stations from 8 to 11 each weeknight, starting next Monday the 2nd. Tom Coates is in the house, as always, on a Tuesday. Pat Nichols is my guest. She is a Central Iowa conservative Christian woman, big passion, also around women's equality, Planned Parenthood, despises Hillary Clinton?
That's close, yeah.
Probably not that strong.
No.
You just think she's a fraud.
Intensely dislikes.
Yeah. Have you always felt that way about her?
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah, since I got to know her.
When did you get to know her? When did you find yourself having opinions on politics? High school, junior high?
Clinton administration, early 20s.
Okay.
When I was in my early 20s.
All right. Now, you're also a big NRA enthusiast, and you were telling Tom and I before the break was over something about the background. They're playing with the background check language.
Yeah, they are. They're calling for universal background checks, and what you'll hear both Obama and Clinton, all right, and among other Democrats, using universal background checks on all firearms transfers and universal background checks on all firearm sales interchangeably. Now, they're two different things. Either they're trying to dupe the American public into thinking they're one and the same.
Right.
Or these people are so utterly clueless to the laws of the country that already exist, they should not be holding office.
That's why they're called low information voters.
Section 479.11 of the National Firearms Act describes a firearms transfer as selling, leasing, loaning, assigning, pledging, giving away, or otherwise disposing of a firearm.
Okay.
So if an 80-year-old widow, grieving widow, if her husband dies and she gives her gun or his duck gun to her son, that would be a felony without a background check if it's on all firearms transfers.
Is this the law now?
No, but that's what they keep saying. We need background checks on all firearms transfers. If a firearms instructor leases a gun to one of his students, for a class, if they pass background checks on all firearms transfers, that's a firearms transfer.
Oh, my.
Yeah. So we have to watch out at the language that they're using and call them out on it and make them, say exactly what they mean. If it's all firearms transfers, that's a problem. Even if it's background checks on all sales, do they honestly believe that two criminals that are trading a rock of crack for a 9mm are going to trot down to their local FFL and get a background check?
Right.
It's not going to happen.
Frank, you have a question?
Yes, I have a question for Pat if she'll put her headphones on.
She's got them.
Basically, men are handcuffed. I have another term for it that's whipped. But men are kind of whipped into silence of attacking Hillary or saying things about Hillary. So do you feel like it's up to the women of America, like yourself, to get out there and spread the news about Hillary, because it's not going to be perceived as much as an attack if it's a woman doing it?
It absolutely is up to us. or it's up to men that have thick skin and don't mind being called sexist or misogynist.
Well, it's not true. I mean, you
not
call
true.
me. It's like say I don't like Obama and now I'm a racist.
But we're in such a politically correct environment right now that they can shut men down. You know, men say something, they can shut him down. A woman says something, it's a lot harder to call me a sexist than it is to call you a sexist man.
Yeah.
It is. I think this is part of the reason that Ben Carson's a threat to them, though, guys. I think they fear, in some cases, Ben Carson more than anybody because he represents the opportunity to take a real crack into that 90% voting block of the blacks. And he does so well with women in the polls. That's part of the reason he's pulled ahead of Trump here and now even in the national polls. He really is doing far better than Trump with women. And I think that represents another threat to them at this point because they think they not only have the blacks, 90%, they think they have the big edge on women voters. And with him in there, I think it threatens both of those voting blocks that they count on. And it makes it more difficult. Hillary can easily attack a Donald Trump.
Right.
It's very difficult for her with impunity to attack Ben Carson. I think we're seeing now what's happened when Donald Trump has turned his ire towards Ben Carson, attacking his faith, attacking him as a low-energy guy. And,
Well, I think a lot of that also has to do with that Ben Carson has mastered diplomacy.
Mm-hmm.
And Hillary thrives on division. If she has something that she can latch onto, you know, and devices, that's what she's going to do. Ben Carson isn't giving her any of that red meat.
No, there's not much.
There's nothing to latch on to.
No, there's not. Who do you support? Mac was mentioning.
Oh, yeah.
Who do you like at this point?
I've got a short list. I haven't made my decision yet.
Okay.
That short list is probably in no particular order. Ben Carson, Marco Rubio, and Ted Cruz.
Okay. So Donald Trump, what do you think of him?
I think he's a really great reality star.
Okay. All right. Would you be afraid to live in this country if he was president? Are you afraid to live in this country with the Obamas and Clintons at hand? My guess is you're not afraid of
I'm
much,
not.
Yeah, I probably used the wrong word
That's the wrong word.
Okay.
Mad. You know, I can't be afraid because I have an obligation to myself, to my family, to my community to be dependable. Dependable is one of those words that has basically exited the English language.
Yeah.
So strength has to override fear, you know, and pull my community together. That's what I need to do.
Do you belong to your county's Republican Party?
I don't. I did for a little while.
Okay. Are you thinking about caucusing in February?
Thinking about it.
Okay. Because it's that grassroots movement where you'll get the most amount of traction.
I agree.
In Iowa.
There are some grassroots organizations, though. You have to be careful who you hook up with.
Oh, I know.
You really do.
I know. All right. Check her out on Facebook, Pat Nicholas. She's got 2 videos on YouTube. So are you going to make another one?
If the inspiration hits.
It's got to be the inspiration hitting. Okay, well, that's good. That means it's genuine. All right, Tom, thanks for being here. Since the last time we talked, Biden's gone.
Biden is gone. I don't... long shot bet he comes back at the 11th hour. Also, with Trump, part of his lack of female appeal is he hadn't shown fidelity. He's traded off one model for a new one. You look at Ben Carson, he's been with the same woman all these years. I think that's another appeal with women that hasn't been talked about much, guys.
Is the stability of a marriage.
Yep.
Yes.
And a relationship.
She's no beauty queen, but she's a faithful woman. He's been faithful to her.
Ben's a great guy.
Yeah.
You and I both had several opportunities to meet him. We've had him here on the radio. We think we're probably going to have him on the radio again before the caucuses, and we're really appreciative of he and the people he's got on the ground here in Iowa. Pat, I love you. You're great, man. Keep going.
Love you too, Mac.
Good. And your husband, Steve, is sitting back there quiet. You're a lucky man. You married up, baby. Yeah, you married up. So did you, Tom. Don't even think about it. All right, until I see you again, think about the person you haven't been able to forgive. And please, today, forgive that person. Because as you forgive, you will be forgiven. I'll see you in church.